Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're looking at some stuff from that Countycomm package. And obviously the theme here is Ultem. Yes, they have a bunch of Ultem gear. So, love it or hate it, it's here right now. I don't think it's going to last forever. You know, when you talk about EDC items and gear, you know, there's fads that come and go. Certain things stick around, you know, like carbon fiber. That's, you know, been around a long time. That's not going anywhere. D2, like we have on this blade. Not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? At one point, it seemed like it was a fad. All of a sudden, everything was being made in D2, but things are still being made in D2. It's kind of a go-to steel, right? So some people love Ultem, some people hate it. I think it's funny because it's new, and I like it because it's new. And I know I'm not going to like it forever. It's not always going to be something I'm after, but right now it seems pretty hot and it's pretty popular, and it is new to me. I'm a little late to the party, let's say, because this stuff's been around for maybe a little over a year, as far as I know. As far as seeing it like in, you know, gear and stuff. I think it's pretty darn neat. But like I said, I understand it can get old. Someone commented and said it looks like, you know, something that was maybe clear and in a smoker's house, which I thought was hilarious. Because I get that. It looks kind of like maybe some 70s stuff, right? Like, I don't know, just this translucent amber type color. I think it's kind of cool. To me, it reminds me a little bit of like Jurassic Park. And hopefully most of you are old enough to even understand that reference. But yeah, so I think it's kind of cool. It is what it is. So I do have some gear here. If you are interested in Ultem, that's why I'm showing the stuff. I have specific reasons I got all this stuff, and they will be dispersed in, you know, in different types of things. The first one is the dice. Now I didn't just get Ultem. I also got carbon fiber dice, and I also got titanium dice. So perhaps you'll see that in another video in the future or something. But you know, Christina and I, once in a blue moon, we'll have like a game night. We'll whip out, you know, Monopoly and all these different board games. Clue is her favorite board game. Monopoly may be my favorite. But I do collect different dice. And when we play, you know, these board games and stuff, it's cool to just break out different dice. So I thought, hey, you know, everything's Ultem now. Got to get the Ultem dice. They are super lightweight. But the dice are 15 bucks. I want to say it's the same for all three. I think it's $15 also for the carbon fiber as well as the titanium. But the only downside to these is, like right now, it's totally fine. If I roll these dice, I can see exactly what it is. So I got a 6 and a 3, right? Because I have the overhead lighting. When I first opened this package, I did not have the lights on in the room, and I was playing around with them, and it was hard to see because the numbers or dots are not painted, right? On most dice, we have the, you know, the little drill marks or dots. They are usually painted white, you know, or a contrasting color, so it's very, you know, easily visible. On all three dice, I don't think either of the other ones are actually painted either. So it'd be interesting to see in lower light how the carbon fiber do. The titanium are totally fine because they're still like reflective and in low light. When I first opened the package, I could see those fine. But the carbon fiber ones are actually pretty dark too, like these. So anyway, just something to note there. I thought those were pretty cool. I like the dice. I collect dice just like I collect, you know, cards. I sometimes focus on it. Most times I don't. It's one of those things I just come across some kind of cool dice I like, I pick them up. So that's obviously why I was interested in that. Besides that, we have a very cool little pocket container. I love pill boxes. I have an obsession with pill boxes. I have wooden pill boxes with slide tops from when I was in, you know, high school. And back then, it's just, you know, I just put my weed in there. Hey, man, you can put your weed in there. That's just what it was. I had all kinds of containers that I put weed in. And I had separate containers that I put seeds in that I would save. And then I had separate containers that I would put the stems in to make tea and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm a fan of containers. And this is great if you obviously, you know, carry any kind of medication. If you have prescription meds, it's something you have on you all the time, probably. But even if you don't have prescription meds, it's something you can use to carry your vitamins. If you're that person and you take all kinds of daily vitamins. Or let's say you don't like pills at all, really. It's good to have some Tylenol, Advil, something like that. I have some Tylenol in here right now, but this particular one is really nice. It's not just the Ultem. The Ultem's cool because you can see through it. That's kind of the bonus in some of these, you know, items. But this one's really well constructed. All right. The little detents and bearings, there's actually a halfway point here. I don't know if you can hear that. I mean, if I shut up, you can hear it. But listen. You see that? Actually, you can probably physically see it. It is a hard snap. All right. It's very tactile, right? Look at that. There we go. Pops in, pops out. So it's not going to easily slide. You actually need a decent amount of pressure, plus you can see the little topographical thing on top, which is kind of cool. Always reminds me of Damascus, but it's supposed to be that, you know, topo map type deal. But anyway, snaps open. The halfway point snaps, which is really cool, so you can just shake out whatever pills you want. Keeps going, stops on the other end, and obviously comes completely off if you want. But just really, really well made. Like, as far as pill boxes go, I've had some other plastic ones before. Actually, I think even from Countycomm. But this one's just really cool. But you know, the Ultem aside, it's amazing. It's awesome. And I do want to go back and double check and see if they have the same type thing, like, you know, maybe in some different colors too. But just wicked. Very, very cool. All right, so I got that. So the next cool thing I got was a permanent match. Now, I don't think they call this a permanent match. I want to say they call this like a flame vault or something along those lines, but I've always known these as permanent matches. All right, essentially it's a style of lighter. And this is really well done. There's a lot of texturing on the front. All right, so you get a fantastic grip. You can see it's on the back as well. All right, there is a little corner cut out and drilled, so we have a spot for a lanyard. If you did want to put a lanyard on here, maybe just easier to find in a bag, pull it out, whatever. There is a plate on the bottom which has the cage number. That's essentially like an item number. But it is removable, which is very nice, so you can access the inside, and this did come with spare parts. And because it's clear, you can see through there. So we have a cotton-like material that absorbs our fuel, and it's in a U-type shape, all right? So when you're taking the stick portion out, or the, you know, match portion, it doesn't come in contact with that at all, right? So what you do is you fill it up with some lighter fluid. You don't want to, and what's cool, because it's clear, you can see how you're filling it. Now, I only fill this to like just the tip of the match, right? When you're normally filling, you can fill it all the way if you want, but to me, I'd rather have this absorbed with most of that fluid and not, you know, literally pouring out. Just depends on what you're doing. If you fill this completely and you want to use this to start a fire, you could take the match out and literally tap or just shake a couple drops of actual lighter fuel, or lighter fluid rather, directly onto whatever you're trying to light a fire with. Like if you got some cotton balls or something, or if you have some natural tinder, that's a cool way to do it. You know, and then keeping the, obviously, you know, the cotton soaked itself in there so you can continuously use the match. Fantastic knurling on this match portion as well. And there is a spot there, so if you want to put a lanyard on that as well, you can do that. But you basically twist this off. If you haven't seen these permanent matches before, there is an O-ring, obviously, to keep the fluid in. We have our striker inside of this post, and there's cotton on either side. So that has lighter fluid on right now. The striker's on the side, just like a little ferro rod. All right, make sure you're lined up with this, and I'll tell you why in a second. But there you go. You spark it, and you have your match. And you can blow this out, light it a bunch of times. That's why it's called a permanent match, because the match, you can just keep on using. It's very, very cool. Now, this is obviously soaked with fluid. It's always such a high flame, but as you let that burn a little bit, it burns down. You don't want those to burn, though. All right, you want to keep those nice and wet. So I did let the fluid evaporate, just playing with this, because, you know, of course, I get the gear and I test it out right away, use it, so that's dried up a little bit. I got to add some more fluid in there. But that's how this thing works. The striker's on the side, you light it, you have your match, you light whatever you want, you blow it out, and you can use it over and over and over again. So my one downside with this, it's very cool, works great. Again, it's a nice custom little piece. The only thing is when you are striking this, you have to make sure your striker is right dead center. Because I did this a couple times, my first couple rips there, and I actually grabbed the corner of the plastic and I peeled away, like there was a little strip of plastic there. It just, because the striker is obviously like a 90-degree angle, so it's quite sharp. So when you rub that, if you keep rubbing the plastic away, it's just going to damage the body of it. But if you use this properly and you know, keep getting you know, different parts for it, you can use this indefinitely, right? When the ferro rod eventually wears out completely, you can glue a new one in there. So, I mean, it's just kind of cool. I've had tons of these permanent matches before. You know, most of them are cheaply made. They're just, you know, little metal boxes. It works the same way, but this is just a really cool custom piece. It just kind of ups the EDC game if you happen to, again, be into the new fad of Ultem and you want that in your setup, your EDC. That's the one, right? I haven't seen any other version of a permanent match with Ultem yet. So that was really cool. That stood out. I thought that was awesome. So then we get into some writing utensils. So I have a mechanical pencil here, which is the bomb, by the way. This thing is really, really nice. I actually got this for my wife to try out. So, you know, mechanical pencil like we used to have back in grade school. You pump it and there goes your lead. And this actually came with not only spare strips of lead, but also a sharpener. All right. So you can actually get a point on that as opposed to, you know, just when you had the regular stick and the first couple, you know, when you first started writing with it, if you remember, I don't know if you guys use them in school or not, but first started writing that first word or two was a little messed up until the lead or graphite inside started to shape itself properly, but you can actually sharpen that, which is really nice. And of course you can push that back in because it is a mechanical pencil, right? Very cool pocket clip, very functional pocket clip. Threw this right in the pocket as soon as I got it. This also came with a metal cap, but just, yeah, super cool. Mechanical pencil with the Ultem body. Then we have the Embassy Pen, and this thing has been around for many, many years. I have a black one, I have a aluminum one, I have a titanium one. These are just awesome. This just happens to be the Ultem version. That's all. I'm a huge fan of the Embassy pens to begin with, so I had to get this one. This is for my pen collection. This one I will use on my desk occasionally, but it's really just for a collection. I'll use air quotes there because it does get used, but not as often. This is just a cool piece to have years and years from now. So, love that. And then they have a mini pen, and this is going into, not my EDC, which you might think. This is actually going to go into, I don't know if I even showed it before, but I have a pad of paper, and it's like a little tiny notebook, like a moleskin type notebook, and a leather holder that's really cool, and the leather holder has cards in it. And it was originally in my EDC, but it got transferred over to my vehicle. Ever since I had my Challenger, that was my little, you know, it was a holder basically for the glove box that housed my discount cards for gas stations as well as any gas station credit accounts that I have. And I'd be able to, you know, log and, you know, keep track of gas prices and stuff. So I always had a pen in there. And that went from a Fisher Space Pen to a different pen I had to this. This will be what actually resides in there. And this thing's super cool. It has a little, you know, lanyard hole for the cap. A lot of people would probably put this, this is teeny tiny, by the way. You'd probably end up putting this on your keys. It's that small enough for that. All right, takes a teeny tiny little insert in here. And it's just Ultem. That's the whole thing. Takes a Lamy M22 insert, if you're interested. Made in Germany. So very cool, very simple, just a little 3-piece Ultem Ultra Mini Pen for EDC. So I thought that was really, really cool. Then, lastly here, get that, there we go. Don't want to strip your threads. We got the knife, and there's already tons of knives, both folders and fixed blades that use Ultem. This one was specifically a Microtech branded knife. And I want to say this is the Ready for Action. It's like the R4A, I think. And it's very cool. Just a neat little extra thick, by the way. You can see the Ultem scales on here are actually pretty thin. And these are limited. Actually, a couple of these items are limited. This one's limited to 500 pieces. This is number 362. All right, Microtech. This one's in D2. Let's see. I think this is limited as well. This is limited to 1,000 pieces. This is number 733. And the pens may or may not be, I forget. Nope, okay, at least if they are limited, they're just not, it's not on there, it's just the cage numbers. And that one's too tiny. Have anything on it, really. So if you guys are anything like me, the second you saw this knife, you thought, what are these black things? Is that like how it's cut out on the back? And no, that's just oil. That's it, it's just oil trapped between the Ultem and the, you know, the blade itself, because it was oiled. So the very first thing I did when I got this was I took it apart, like see the black down here, all right? I back out the screw a little bit, what do you know, it disappears. All right, it's gone. That's because when these screws, the hardware is tightened, it's pushing the oil against, you know, it's pinching the oil between and it's showing a dark spot. So I will absolutely take these scales off and wipe this down because that bugs me. But I just want to show it to you. I put it back like this so that you guys would know if you happen to get this knife, there's nothing wrong with it. That's what it is. If it bothers you, take it off, take the scales off, or you can add oil to it in case you like the darker look, but I don't know why you would if you got the Ultimates for that amber type color. But anyway, that's all it is. It's just some trapped oil. This did come with a very cool, you know, pre-made lanyard as well, which you don't have to have on the knife. I just put it on there for now. Very thick though, very nice, very simple kind of generic, you know, blade design, little drop point here. Again, this one's in D2. I just like it. I think it's cool. Again, just jumping on the Ultem train. So anyway, you guys, you get it. You know, it's Ultem. This gear is cool as it is. If it wasn't Ultem, it'd be cool too. Some of these things, like I said, I believe they have other pillboxes, you know, besides the Ultem one. The Embassy Pen is awesome. If you happen to like the design of the pen and don't like Ultem, there's a million versions of this. They're super, super cool. The dice, again, if you're into dice, but you're not into Ultem, the titanium are pretty cool, and the carbon fiber is pretty interesting. The knife I will test separately. I didn't get to use that yet, just got to play around with some of this other stuff. But yeah, I mean, you know, not everyone's into everything. And like I said, I feel like this Ultem craze is going to pass. It's just right now, it's cool. And it's new, and anything that's new is exciting. So that's why I'm pretty excited about it. And for anyone who is into Ultem, I wanted to bring this stuff to your attention. That's pretty much all. So I will have separate videos on the other stuff that I got from Countycomm. I may have an update in the future on this guy here, but everything else just kind of is what it is. They all function very nicely for what it's supposed to do. It just has that look. That's all. So write in the comment section, Ultem, thumbs up, thumbs down, what do you think? You know, do you like it? Do you not like it? I'd love to hear your opinions on it. But like I said, it's not something that I'll probably look back a year or two from now and say like, oh yeah, that was pretty cool, I like it. But it's not like I'm gonna want to get everything Ultem forever. It's just, it's a passing phase. But while it's passing, pretty darn cool, I have to say. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.